Hello, psychologist Yulia Latunenko is with you. And today I will tell you about such an interesting type of people who can rightfully be called chronophages. I have counted 6 signs of chronophage people, and today I will tell you about it. Well, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and are watching without a subscription, I will be very pleased, and it will be valuable if you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and write a comment on whether you have met such people in your life who will be discussed in this video. So the first sign of chronophage people. We can meet chronophages among our circle of friends. They can also be members of our family. These can be our neighbors, strangers, colleagues at work, or clients who come to you to get some service or product. That is, there are a lot of such people, really. But let's figure out who can rightfully be called a chronophage. And so if it's your friends or a friend, you've probably noticed that with such a friend, the conversation always revolves around his persona, around his interests, needs. Such a person will usually talk for a very, very long time and a lot about themselves, or not even about themselves, but will tell some gossip. But if you try to insert half a word about yourself, about your events, situations, about your opinion, such a person will be indifferent to your opinion. They won't react in any way, but most likely they will hurry to change the conversation to a topic that is interesting to them. That is, you will be silent more, and such a person will talk more. So here is just such a sign. You are not interesting to the person, your interests are not taken into account. Such a person, of course, will not ask you questions about your life. The most they can do is formally ask you how you are without expecting a detailed answer. So next, who are these chronophage people? And now I will name the second sign for you. You've probably figured out that chronophages, the word itself is related to time. Chronos means time. And people like this are egocentrics who use your time. They don't just use your time, but very often they use your resources as well. Emotional, financial resources. You spend a lot of time on these people, and when a person like that, maybe they're important to you, significant to you, or you depend on them in some way, and this person starts telling you something, but their story starts from very, very far away. And during this beginning, from very, very far away, they start getting lost in some minor details, describing everything in great detail so that you completely lose the thread of the story. You no longer understand what it's about, because so many extraneous details, which have absolutely no relation to the central idea and the central goal of the story, just appear along the way. And you don't know what to do. You endure it, you stay silent and wait for this whole story to somehow end on its own, but it doesn't end and it doesn't end. And internally, maybe if you depend on this person, you start to get annoyed, but you still don't tell them no. You don't stop this person because something inside you won't let you do it. Although during the conversation you hide your irritation, you get bored, but for some reason you don't say, no, stop, I'm not interested in this, I'm not going to listen to this. You feel that it's not polite, or you feel that you might offend the person. You think about this person, how not to offend them, and you endure it, violating your own boundaries. But this person isn't thinking about your boundaries when they're so engrossed in themselves and their story. But why can't you say no and stop to a person like that? Why do you waste the time and resources of not only your mental, but also your physical health? Because any unexpressed irritation that you've suppressed can manifest in your body through psychosomatic pains or symptoms. Maybe after talking to a person like that, you'll get a headache, or you might feel nauseous, or you'll feel some very strong fatigue after the conversation. But for some reason you don't say no, and you destroy yourself just so you don't have to feel the guilt of having offended that person. So chronophages are those people who distract you from your life. They drain your energy like vampires from the main things you're doing in your life. A very simple example of chronophages are spammers, when they call you and offer some unknown services. Often these are scammers, con artists. These are all chronophages. Nowadays, this has become a very common, ordinary thing. So the fifth sign of chronophages is people who call you from unknown numbers when you haven't arranged a call, when it's not your very close friends or family. And people don't write to you in a messenger, which is easy to do. Everyone has some kind of messenger on their phone. But people call and distract you. And we all know that very often we work online. Now, many people have switched to working on the internet. For example, I work from my phone in any messenger, conducting online therapy sessions. I conduct the group, of course, from a laptop, but I conduct individual sessions on the phone. And when I get 25 calls, and it interrupts my work, that's what chronophages are. So please, think about it. Consider what's happening on the other end of the line when you call a person without warning them about the call. It might greatly irritate them and distract them from some very important matter. Another significant sign of chronophage people is that they always tend to whine incessantly. They constantly complain about their entire life. They do it for a very long, often quite tedious period of time, and they simply cannot seem to stop themselves. They don't change anything in their lives. They are amused by only one thing, complaining and finding a willing ear to use for free as a psychologist. Very often, professionals in the beauty industry are at risk. Manicure and pedicure specialists, cosmetologists, massage therapists. Doctors can also be at risk when a person comes in and starts talking about their life and whining, and you just can't get away from them. And they do it without thinking at all that they are stealing the person's time. And I've even seen signs in beauty salons that says, the psychologist's office is around the corner. On the wall of a manicure specialist, a sign that says, it's very difficult to end a conversation with a chronophage because they'll always say something else just as you're trying to leave. And you've already said goodbye 25 times, but after that, thank you. For some reason, you spend another half hour talking to such a person. They cling like burrs, they cling and don't come loose in conversation. Saying goodbye once is not about chronophages. They usually say goodbye several times. Well, it appears in the end. The question is, why are they like this? Any person who has a high level of anxiety or an anxiety disorder can become a chronophagous person, or a person who is very excitable, an infantile person, or a codependent person can become a chronophagous person. And completely not noticing what she does in contact with other people, breaking their boundaries without noticing, and only when her boundaries are violated will she be sensitive to it. And another category of people who are chronophages are covert narcissists. Because they always complain about their lives, dramatize, tell some incredible, scary stories of their lives, arouse pity, beg for help, so that the person who listens, the hidden narcissist turned on, got carried away, became a savior for such a person. Of course, the covert narcissist is always your chronophagist. Chronophages steal the most precious thing in your life. This is the time of your life. Time is the most precious currency in our lives. This is much more expensive than millions of dollars. And as usual, at the end of the video, I will ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, like this video and leave a comment. The comment is longer than 7 words. Have you met chronophagous people in your life? Did you notice anything in your behavior in these signs I mentioned in this video? Please write a sincere comment. I will thank you for any of your activity.